Welcome to the Countdown Movie and TV Reviews feature review episode. My name is Wayne.
And my name is Paul. This week we are doing Bird Box, the big Netflix drop from late last year.
Everyone is talking about this show.
Yeah, for better or worse they are. Directed by Suzanne Bier and with the screenplay by Eric Hessner, who also is one of the people who contributed to Arrival, Wayne. It's based on a novel by Josh Malerman, which I read 3-4 years back.
You read books? Sorry.
Occasionally I do.
No, that's very impressive.
Stars Sandra Bullock, Trevante Rhodes from your favourite film of last year, Wayne, The Predator, and...
Is that him?
Moonlight.
I was wondering where I saw him from. I'm like, I know this cracker.
And John Malkovich, I should say, with some bit parts from B.D. Wong, Tom Hollander, thank you, sorry, John, and Sarah Paulson. It's 124 minutes long. The budget, take a stab, Wayne.
I'm actually, let's say 30.
Yeah, okay. $19.8 million, which I was surprised by. And so
no, it looks
clearly
better
so
than
are you. It looks better than that for sure. It is, Netflix has reported, the most watched debut original film from Netflix in its history.
Why? I heard nothing about this movie.
In week one drop. Now, obviously, Sandra
Has marketing
Bullock.
changed?
Well, in Sandra Bullock is a big draw. It's released right close to Christmas when people sort of on holidays.
Well, you know my girl Sandy B always bring it. But
all right, what is it about, Wayne?
Well, Bird Box introduces a post-apocalyptic scenario where the world has been decimated by strange, seemingly supernatural creatures. No one seems to know a damn thing about them, except that merely casting eyes on them compels you to commit suicide immediately. It's not clear if they're meant to be demons or ghosts or whatever.
Or aliens or whatever.
Aliens,
exactly.
yeah. However, they can read your mind and assimilate voices in your head to make you open your eyes. They can't harm you directly. They can make you kill yourself, though.
Yep.
At the middle of this is Mallory, played by Sandra Bullock, who is the last survivor of a group we keep flashing back to, and she has 2 5-year-old kids with her, and she's trying to get them to a reported safe haven, but they have to get there without looking at anything. So they're walking around like Donatello with a fucking bandit, like a bandana. Donatello got like a mask over his head that looks purple like Sandra Bullock's one. The Ninja Turtle, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Everyone knows what I'm saying. Paul's full of shit. All right.
That's just terrible, man.
What?
Really terrible.
She looked like Donatello.
Because it was purple. All right, I get you now. I understand.
God damn it.
Anyway, that aside, yes, they are.
I think I may have forced it off the rails for a second there. Sorry.
It did a little bit. So the narrative, as you have implied, flashes back and forth between now and in the future. Well, not the future, in the past, where the cataclysm, the apocalypse befell the world, happened. And gradually through the course of the film, then catches up to now.
Which
Wayne,
is not bad.
What did you think of Netflix original Bird Box?
This was good. This movie was good. I'm hearing a lot of bad reviews, and I don't get it. Okay, I liked pretty much. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm not watching this movie again. It's a horror-ish kind of movie, so I'm not going to fucking do that.
It's a suspenseful film with some horror elements. It's a apocalyptic film.
Yes, which is not my jam.
Yeah.
But having said all that, this movie, I liked pretty much everything about it. Like, it's not rewatchable for me, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'd watch it again. I wouldn't rush to do so, but
it was a good film. It was tense as shit. I mean, it's one of the, the as you said, the flashing back and forward, telling 2 parallel narratives at the same time. It's one of those movies where at the first, act, you don't really know what the fuck's going on. Like, and then it finally makes sense, and then it sort of pays off that it makes sense. Mm-hmm. And I think once you understand, you get right into the action, I'll call it, because it's quite unsettling with all the filming behind the blindfold. It makes you feel very boxed in. I really liked it, and it's really good. It's got a message, which I will get into later. What did you like?
Yeah, I liked the film quite a bit as well. Regular listeners will know that I talked it up as an honorable mention on my top 10 Netflix.
Oh, so you dug it.
Originals, yes, from a couple of weeks back with Dan and Caleb from the Netflix and Swill podcast. Yeah, I did dig it, and I'd read the book, so I knew exactly what to expect.
And is it difficult? Is it different from the book?
In little places it is. I read a couple of reviews suggesting it was very different, but my memory is this is pretty much, it hits all the same plot beats.
I did some reading and they said the Trevante guy was far less of a player in the book.
Yeah, I would agree on that part.
And the ending is a lot harsher.
Yeah, and again, I don't remember that.
We'll talk about it in the spoilers.
All right, good. You read that. My memory ends very similarly, perhaps a bit more ambiguously.
It's
we'll
similar,
wait till the
but
spoilers
not.
section.
Yeah.
If you are new to the show, we don't spoil films in the first part of the review. We'll have a clear delineation when we get to that point. I like these films. I like survival horror thriller films where a group of people are trapped in a place and are trying to survive. And though the dressing is different, like it's very similar to A Quiet Place in that
I've heard this.
a sense is going to kill you. So being too loud in a quiet place gets you killed. Looking at things in this place gets you killed in Bird Box.
What are you going to do exactly?
It treads some of the same ground, which maybe worked to Bird Box's benefit in that lots of people liked Quiet Place. Oh, let's check this out. Which is why it was so successful for Netflix. Or maybe just the fact that Sandra Bullock, who is very recognizable and a bankable kind of star, that probably worked in its favor as well. And it's different.
Can I ask you, if just on that note, if I liked this film, which I do, would you recommend A Quiet Place to me? Or
You've still not seen A Quiet Place.
No, I was going to see it last night and I just bitched out because I saw a trailer.
Totally should see A Quiet Place. I'm disappointed.
Really? All right.
Now, if you're listening to this in sequential order, we have yet to record our top 10 films of the year, but that's what you've already heard by now because that gets released before this review. So now that conversation will make sense to you.
Go ahead, check that out.
Go back and check that out if you haven't heard it. Look, I thought the film was particularly... I was much more connected with the group of people in the house than I was in her leading two blindfolded kids down a river.
That's not bad. I don't know how I feel about that, but you're certainly close because the people in the house annoy the shit out of me.
Well, I thought it was. You only get some broad strokes. The characters are not well drawn in.
No, because
with the exception of Mallory.
Yeah.
And John Malkovich gets a bit more screen time, and he's the asshole of the group, and that's more than fair enough. And Trevante Rhodes becomes Alex, is that his name? Tom. Good one, Paul. Becomes more of a feature the further the film goes. So they're really the only three that get really drawn in. The rest are sketched in just enough that you know, when they inevitably begin to die, you kind of give a bit of a crap. Not enough that like, oh, that person died, but it's good enough.
Okay, it was a bit harsh as well. Interesting to see Jackie Weaver. Aussie actress.
In a very small role, I will say,
but
yet was high up on the credit list.
She's done a few things. Like she's like the Noah Weil sort of level of Noah Weil.
Who are you talking about?
There's an Aussie actor named Noah someone, and he was in fucking
Taylor.
No, Taylor. That's right. Noah Taylor was in Vanilla Sky, and he shouldn't really be in there. So
I'll explain.
Fuck
now,
off.
you small
Fuck off.
words You'll be sure to understand, you warthog-faced
bullshit.
buffoon.
Why is this still going this damn ass sound? Fuck you.
Anyway, Wayne being typical Wayne.
Anyway, suck my balls is what I'm saying.
Yeah, look, she gets a lot of bit part roles. She's in a lot of Aussie stuff, but she's in a lot of American stuff too. She was in the Animal Kingdom TV series.
Oh.
No, she wasn't. I'm telling the lie. She's in the Animal Kingdom movie. Yes, and it's Ellen from Sea of Love with Al Pacino.
Ellen Barkin.
Barkin. She's the mum playing her role in the American version. Yeah.
Is it good?
Because I'd seen the film, I just couldn't be bothered watching the TV show and getting there in 12 hours. What it was done in 2 in the TV, in the movie. Anyway, this film, I thought it was good, solid. I like you. I don't understand people who are picking this film apart.
What are they saying?
Oh, they're saying it's completely unrealistic and how ridiculous.
Oh, really?
There's a huge criticism about it, which was just brought to my attention today by a friend of the show, Mina.
Go on.
Who sent me a link to an article, which I want to just give you the Cliff Notes version of one.
Yeah.
It is extremely, what world are we living in? Here's what it says. Bird Box reflects a deeply insular, conservative, and paranoid parenting philosophy.
No, it doesn't, you fucking idiot. You've missed a point.
I think you are way over-interpreting a film.
What a bunch of bullshit.
When you are trying to basically read it as a criticism or a support of the Tiger Mum approach to parenting.
The Tiger Mum...
Helicopter parenting.
That's not even the point of the movie at all.
I totally agree. Someone is just reading too much shit into this. And then it goes on, this article in The Guardian goes on to say that the blindfolds could be representative of... Hang on. This will make you laugh.
Sure.
It's about our desire not to see racial prejudice.
Oh my God! How could you miss the mark so hugely? These people are idiots.
Can I now respond with the soundboard to that article?
Please,
and indeed people who...
Now you can use your damn soundboard.
I fart in your general direction.
You know what this movie's actually about?
Please.
It's actually about... This is the moral here. A life without genuine human connection is no life at all.
Yep.
That's basically what this movie is saying, okay? Mallory starts the movie as a despondent, depressed person who shuns people and society, and that's made even more poignant by her sister being such a bright, bubbly, happy girl.
Sarah Paulson.
Sarah Paulson
nice
doing a great
role.
job.
Yep.
Great little job. She's even terrified she won't love the child she's carrying because her roommate knocked her up and left. And she now gets then forced into a situation where she has to connect with people. She hasn't got an option. And then even when she has the kids and stuff. She can't commit to giving them a name, calls them boy and girl and stuff.
Which is kind of interesting from a psychological perspective, I think. But yeah.
Well, I think what that's supposed to be doing is she still hasn't connected with her goddamn children because she can't do that yet. And then she finally gets to a place, and we're getting into spoilers here.
We do, and so stop.
So I'd say stop.
So say anything more than that. In fact, maybe we should just go on. We both enjoyed this film quite clearly. I'm pleased you enjoyed it. I wasn't sure because it's not your jam. This horror suspense.
It's you know what? When it's done right and it's good, it's just like when I hear music from a genre I don't really care for, but the person playing it is fucking good and I can tell.
He's so talented.
Yeah, it's just I'm impressed still. So good is good.
All right, well, totally agree. On that note, then let's hit the spoiler button and get into it. Right, so as you were about to say, please, what happens with Sandra Bullock's character, Mallory?
Exactly. So even after she berates Tom for saying to the kids, hey, there's kids that'll play with you and this, she's basically saying, don't give them hope. There's no fucking hope. We're just trying to not die. And he's like, dude, you have to love children. You have to give them love. You can't just be a damn militant hoe about it, right? And so she's like, right?
I'm sure he says that.
Not exactly what he says, but yes. Anyway, unfortunately, of course, Tom buys the farm, unfortunately, but he does it heroically by taking out the dude who was in Batman.
I don't remember that part, but I remember him who takes out. I don't remember who it was, but it is interesting that, so some of the nuances of this film, which you're now tapping into, is that not everybody just kills themselves.
No.
There are people who are less balanced with major mental health issues, seemingly is the case, who or paranoid or are delusional, who are now somehow tipped over the edge to make other people look at whatever these creatures are to kill themselves, but don't kill themselves.
So the mentally divergent are not
that's a
killing
nice way of putting it,
themselves.
mentally divergent.
Yeah, but they somehow become minions.
Yeah.
And actually make other people look, force them into looking. From a shrink point of view, is that something interesting to you?
Well, I mean, it's almost borderline offensive.
It's a little offensive to mental health people, isn't it?
It is. But again, it's a movie. If we took offense at everything, you don't need to. All right. It's just one way of telling a story. And I don't say it's mentally divergent people, to use your language. We glean that, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's someone who has a particular chromosome at a particular level, or maybe it's someone who has a freckle on the back of their neck.
I was just, as you were saying that, I was trying to imagine, okay, so I'm not offended, but then again, I'm not a mental health patient, right? How would this movie offend me? And that version would be that for some reason Asians don't kill themselves, but but they try to kill everyone else.
Yeah, not that it's a racial thing.
Oh my god, they're outside. Is there a chinks around?
Stop it. Just because you are Asian.
I'll use it till a day. All right, so bitch,
right.
please.
So
that's right. My point.
That adds to the threat, which unfolds because eventually they learn. Well, we just won't look outside, and these creatures
you can't even afford to look,
manipulate you directly. Although then there are scenes later in the film which did start to bother me a little bit. This is where one of the problems I had, where they're being dragged by the things or pushed by their wind through the trees and stuff like that. And I'm like, if you can,
just falling over roots and shit.
No, there's like the kids being dragged. Don't you remember that part? Or was it her being? No, did she pick her up and drag her?
No, she picked her up and dragged her.
Oh, okay. In that case, that's fine. But, well, certainly, if they can make a wind that's strong enough to blow all these leaves and whatever...
It's just leaves, though.
It implies that they're a physical force to some degree, and could they not make shutters drop up and
well,
and
that Lil Rel guy from fucking Get Out, he was the closest to providing some sort of explanation, where he was saying it's demons, it's the end of the world, this. These things are basically here to decimate humanity. Right?
Yeah, I have a real problem with this film and with A Quiet Place, where every review assumes they are aliens. In none of these two films does it say they're aliens. In none of them. There's no reference here. It could be anything.
No,
so
this to me,
you are assuming, and if you write a written review and say, "Oh, it's aliens," "Oh, it's monsters," who knows?
No, I wouldn't say there's. You know what? I'm more inclined to think it's monsters.
It's okay to have an inclination. It's not okay to state it matter of factly because the film doesn't establish that.
There's no. Yeah. Well, first of all, if it was aliens, they could definitely tell you that by showing a spaceship or something.
But they don't. Neither film does. Well, this film doesn't.
I got some news on that.
Hmm?
They actually did shoot the monsters.
And that's right, because they never show them in the film.
No,
in the book, they're never described.
No, when they made this movie, I can show you video, or no, a still of one of the Instagrams of the guys who made the special effects.
Right.
He said, we shot the monsters. There were scenes in it where you saw the monsters.
Oh, I'm glad they didn't. I think that was smart.
Yes, but he put it on the Instagram, and the monsters looked like... the reason they didn't do it is because it looked like an old baby with a demon face. That's what it looked like. And Sandy Bullock, who's a producer, said...
No.
We shot all of those scenes. We spent days on them, and I looked at it and went, "Oh, they just look like little babies. It's better if you just don't show it." And they fucking were right.
Well, I think it's smarter to not show it because nothing can be as frightening as what you're imagining.
Is that why people are pissed? Are they like?
Well, some people don't like the fact you never see the monsters.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
But this is perfect because they don't. Anyone who sees the monsters die.
Exactly. So the audience, you don't get to see them either.
Unless the film ends with Mallory looking up and seeing it and then dying. There's
But then-
no way that
then
you should
you
be
get
able
to see it. Yeah, exactly.
Because then the implication will be as the film ends, you die.
Right. Exactly.
A la The Sopranos.
Yes. And let's talk about Mallory at the end. So she turns up there, and I think the idea here, this is what I'm saying about because she has no connection to anyone in her life, and she can't connect to people. When she finally gets to the goddamn Institute for the Blind, which, by the way, very cool. Only the blind people are immune.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
although I have a real problem with, we're okay here because the birds warn us. Well, what the fuck does that mean?
Well, the bird, but there's lots of birds around. If they go scatter,
But not everyone's blind there is my point.
But here's where the book is a bit different from what I've read.
Yeah, what did you read? Because I
read that when
4 years ago.
Well, in the movie, she gets there and it's this pretty idyllic place. Yes, people are blind, but there's some not blind people as well, right?
Same as in the movie.
In the book,
sorry, that's the movie.
No, the movie. In the movie, you get the feeling she's going to be okay now.
Yes.
And they let the birds go, and she gives her daughter and son a name, which means she now connects
She
with them.
yep.
Exactly, right? So that's it. That's her life now. But in the book, they get to the blind place, and some of the people who walk around with sight have actually taken to blinding themselves so they can protect everyone better.
Yep, makes sense.
And also, I think at the end of the book, it's not like this, oh, we found, Nirvana. It's more like the world is still fucked. Like, we're all fucking overrun.
Okay, so it's the same thing, just a little bit more brutal.
It's bleak. I much prefer, of course, being me, the happier movie ending.
But they're really one and the same. There is a refuge. There is a place. Well done.
Precisely.
She's
the tone
made
is
it.
shifted. That's all.
And you are right now that she has accepted that to live in this world is better than just to survive within it. That's the other. You said the relationships are what matter. Well, it's also an acceptance of I'm allowing myself to get close to my son and this girl from this other woman.
Yes.
Who gave birth to her, and I've adopted and have accepted responsibility for
Because
I'm too frightened to lose them. Basically, in the end, and that's part of
that was
why.
the whole thing where she was like, okay, one of us has to look.
Yep.
And the boy's like, I'll look. She said, no, you're my son. I'll choose. And the girl's like, I'll look. And she's like,
Yeah,
I can't live with either.
eventually,
I can't live with making any of you die.
That's a good
or
scene.
me. So she's like, fuck it. None of us are looking. We'll
Because
see what
that's the
happens.
point you realise that the daughter's not hers, and that's a nice way that they.
Oh yeah.
Some of the back and forth between don't really kind of gel, which is another one of my problems with the mechanics or the technical side of the film.
Don't
Like they kind of we just need a gap in the narrative of before, so we just come back to the now.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's 1 or 2 minutes. Like, there's no fibrous link between them.
Well, I knew that
Some of them there are.
I mean, she knew that the boy was hers,
Yes,
right? And we
obviously
knew that. We knew that.
We only knew that once they had the pregnancy, but that scene where she's trying to decide who's going to look comes right after you learn the boy is hers, the girl is the other
Good
woman's.
point.
Yes.
Yeah.
The best scene of the whole film for me is when Tom Hollander shows he's insane and
Good God, that was
that was really effective. He has the drawings of them. He just puts over the table.
the only time you see him.
Yeah, and then he runs around and starts killing people and opening windows so they get turned. Like Jackie, that's where Jackie Weaver dies. And it was nice. I also thought that John Malkovich, the big arsehole character through the whole film, has his moment of redemption, kills him, dies in the process.
Yeah.
But he is the savior of them all, effectively.
And he actually dies without not from the creatures. Like he dies from getting stabbed or whatever.
Yep.
And I think the implication here was that I'm not sure about this. Maybe the book tells you a bit more. I'm not sure. But the idea is that if you commit suicide in this life, you rot in hell forever. Like it's just the biggest sin.
Okay, I didn't really read that.
Right? And so the whole idea was that these creatures are making humanity rot in hell forever.
Which is nice.
Which is
not nice, but you know what I mean.
I know.
It's a nice extra level to read the film at.
So,
Now, one more thing I want to say about the film before, mate, unless you got anything else.
no, hit it.
Is have you heard about the craze which swept the internet?
Oh my God! You know what? I hadn't until someone mentioned it to me yesterday and said the Netflix
The
had
Bird
to,
Box Challenge.
Yeah, Netflix had to issue a warning saying this is really funny stuff, but please don't fucking hurt yourself. And I can't believe we have to say this.
Yeah, I've got it here. From the Netflix US account, here is a direct quote from the tweet. Can't believe I have to say this, but please do not hurt yourself with this Bird Box Challenge. We don't know how this started and we appreciate the love, but boy and girl have just one wish for 2019, and it is that you not end up in hospital due to memes. So people were blindfolding themselves and doing stupid shit
What
that
were
people
they
were
doing?
doing in the movie. Like everything from just walking across the room to trying to do complicated things and then getting the kids to do the same
Oh
shit.
my God! Don't get the kids involved.
Because that's the movie. There's 2 kids doing it, so therefore I should get my kids to do it. You are
God,
an
people
idiot.
are stupid.
They are. A person is smart. People are stupid.
Yeah, this is fucked up. So that means running through a forest or some shit with a blindfold.
Yeah.
You know you're gonna get fucked up.
And you have to detach brain
There's
a
a
little
movie
bit.
about that.
I should probably say this. You have to detach brain a bit in this movie. Some of the things they do blindfolded is ridiculous. There's no way they would have done that, no matter that you had 5 years of practice.
Yeah.
I don't buy that at all. But that's a film, and it's a film about an apocalyptic event that's never going to happen.
Exactly.
Creatures that come and make us all kill ourselves. If you can't let
But don't jinx it now, Paul. Jesus.
Yes, here is the point. Here is where the apocalypse happens of this podcast. I'm sorry, everybody. All right, that's all I wanted to say about Bird Box. Wayne, can you give us a final score?
I can indeed. It is 78.
78. Ooh, that's higher than me.
Like I said, I shouldn't have liked this film, but I did.
I'm impressed. Does this mean running of...
No.
No. Okay. All right.
You know, it doesn't work like that, man.
Sorry, too logical. I gave it a 72. It's obviously an overall recommend from the Countdown Movie and TV Reviews. It's there. It's on your Netflix. If you have Netflix, check it out. It's well worth a watch. We agree.
You know what it is with us? If I like it a little bit, I like it a lot. I can't give you the tip. I'll slam it all the way in. It's just like, but you, on the other hand, you can give them half. You know what I'm saying? You can just kind of diddle around. What? That's what I'm saying. You have control over the dick. I don't.
Oh, dear God.
I was just thinking that now.
It was all such a nice review.
It was fine. I'm just saying that's how it is with me.
Barely sexual
This
at all.
is how our dicks are.
All right, that is our review of Bird Box. Let us know. What did you think? Did we get it wildly wrong? Do you have a divergent opinion? Let us know at Gmail, the Countdown Podcast at gmail.com, on Twitter at the Countdown PC, or link in the show notes. Join the Facebook listener community where we have a whole bunch of listeners who communicate week in and week out about these topics and a whole lot more film and TV. And last plug for it, episode 200 of the show is coming up. It's your top 20, I think, films of all time, which we'll be talking about. You can submit your top 10 films to us at any of the aforementioned ways, and it will go into the big database that we are forming as we speak. We've had some great feedback so far. We just want a few more to sort of round it out and be really representative of you listeners.
Thanks, guys. That is awesome, and thank you for contributing.
That's right. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Paul.
My name is Wayne. We will see you guys, well, really soon if you just want to hit over and get to our top 10 of 2018.
Top 10. Last week's already out. Next week we'll be doing the best and worst of TV of the year. You can also check it out in a few days' time.
Word.
Cool. And this has been The Soundboard.
I stand resolute, motherfucker.
That's right. Wayne on the soundboard. Is there anything better? Catch you next week.
See ya.
If you love this podcast, then head over to comicconpod.com to check out the other incredible shows on our network.
Whether you love comedy, pop culture, or movie and TV reviews, CC Radio has got you covered.
Welcome to the Countdown Movie and TV Reviews feature review episode. I'm very sorry. Sorry.